video. Hello. Hi, I'm back. I know it's been way too long. I have a reason. Your girl's married. If you follow me on Instagram, you might already know, but Glenn and I eloped, and this video is a beauty babble talking all about that. I wanted to share why and where and what, and I hope you enjoy. Thank you so much for all of your patience with my sporadic posting. I hope this video is a really great little catch up, and I'm looking forward to hearing about what you've been up to in the comments down below. So, without further ado, let's jump into the video. I was getting cocky about my skin yesterday, thinking about being like, I haven't had a zit in at least 3 weeks, and now like, fuck. So we last left off at the end of, did I spill on myself? No, I'm good. At the end of August. Fuck, that's already so long ago, I'm sorry. The end of August was my dad's birthday. We went up to our family cabin and set up like this beautiful little outdoor cinema for him and watched Forrest Gump. It was amazing. We had so much fun. And then September was just busy, back to just doing kind of home stuff, getting a lot of our shit settled. We have been trying to figure out whether or not we are going to move from Kelowna. So this has been in the background for many months now. We've been looking at places online. We've been talking with a real estate agent. We want to move to the island. we just want island life. I feel as though Vancouver Island is just a place that calls me, and every single time that I go, I just don't want to leave. And we definitely want to make a move. We don't really love Kelowna. We love Vancouver, but it is just so stupidly expensive. Like, we don't have a shot at getting a standalone home in Vancouver. And to me, with moving forward in our lives and wanting to have a family and have space for a garden and all of that kind of lifestyle, it just is unfortunately not available in Vancouver due to the price. So the island made a lot more sense, and so we have been like casually looking pretty much since like beginning of September. So yeah, that's kind of been going on in the background, and also obviously with knowing that we're moving, I've been trying to like just organize our lives a little bit more, like sell all of the shit that like we don't really need to be keeping around, or like furniture that I know that like, wow, like I don't really want that in the next house. Been just like selling it on Facebook Marketplace and yada yada. Anyway, very boring. I had a naturopath appointment with a new clinic in Kelowna. And I was wanting to get just a bunch of kind of baseline testing done because it has been, you know, over 2 years since my explant. And I just wanted to make sure that all of my levels were kind of good and leading into the next stage of my life, that, you know, I was where I needed to be. And so anyways, at the beginning of September, I did a bunch of like extensive testing with my naturopath, and I found out that several years ago when I was really sick with breast implant illness, it had been missed that I had the markers for Hashimoto's. So that was kind of heavy, learning that I have a permanent autoimmune disorder, very likely caused by the disturbance of my breast implants. This was something that I did not have prior to implants, and it was not something that anybody caught while I had implants in. Super frustrating, because when you ask for your thyroid to be checked, you would assume that they're checking an extensive panel, and my regular GP did not do that. So I found out in September that I do have markers for Hashimoto's, which is basically your thyroid not functioning properly. And so I don't currently have any flare-up. I don't have any issue with it. It is in remission, and is remission the right word? I don't know, I hope so. It's not active, like it's not a problem currently because of the lifestyle that I do lead. I am obviously really aware of what I eat and quite aware of just my wellness, right? And so that was something that still was a little bit of a shake-up, because it was just like, well, holy shit, like I went so long and nobody caught that. So that was a little bit to deal with, and I definitely wanted to again restructure kind of my food, making sure that I was supporting my body as well as I could. And so yeah, that was the beginning of September for me. And then kind of end of September, My dad has kind of casually been on the list for his second hip replacement. The way that it kind of works in Canada is our healthcare is free, which is phenomenal, but you have to go on a waiting list, and when your name gets called, like that's that, you gotta go in. And so my dad was called in early October for his second hip replacement. And so I kind of blocked off like a week and a half, and I went to Salmon Arm to help my parents out. Some of you may remember I talked about it on Instagram, but I had gone and done the same thing for my dad, his first hip replacement earlier this spring. So I kind of knew the drill. We already had like all of the equipment that we needed, like the ice cooler and like, anyways. At the same time as that was happening, it was like our Thanksgiving, and my mom finally was able to bring her puppy home. Everything happened at once. It's like then this, then this, then this, then this. Yeah, my mom brought her puppy home. Lily is amazing. And so that kind of brings me to the part where I'm sure you guys are most interested about the elopement / wedding part of this video. So one of the questions that so many of you had asked was why we decided to go along with an elopement. And honestly, I think that our biggest kind of reasoning was that we just want to move on with our lives. You know, like we were originally supposed to get married in June, and obviously with everything going on in the world, that got canceled. It was such a bummer because we waited like 9 years to get engaged, and then we finally got engaged and we're like, oh my god, like let's have a 2020 wedding and everyone can come and all of our friends can finally meet each other. Like, we have people in our lives that are the most important people and they have never even interacted. And it's just such a mindfuck. And so that was kind of our biggest thing with the wedding, that we were just so excited for our family and our friends to come and join us and to get to finally, like, I don't know, have a day about us and have a day about our love and our love story. And it didn't happen. Yeah, Glenn and I just had the conversation that like, okay, well, June didn't work out, but that doesn't mean that we couldn't still get married. And after having conversations with his family, it just seemed like that was kind of the smartest thing, just to plan to proceed with an elopement rather than to try and proceed with a party. Because obviously travel with Australia is so limited just within Australia, let alone trying to travel internationally at this point. And we just really couldn't see ourselves having a party for the next couple of years due to what's happening in the world. And so we didn't want to wait. We just felt like, you know what, we've already waited and it's time, man, it's time. We really would like to have a family and have all of us have the same last name. And so, yeah, we came to the conclusion that we were looking to elope. And so from like, I don't know, maybe September onwards, we were kind of just inquiring with different places and getting quotes on like, okay, like if we were to go just Glenn and I and do like a helicopter tour to the top of a mountain, like how much would that cost? Or like, you know, like those types of like fun, like two-person elopements. And then my management was involved because I asked them to help me out, and they are just the sweetest, most generous, lovely people in the world. I could not do anything that I do without them. They had contacted a place in Tofino just asking about their rates and seeing whether or not that was an availability for like a short-term turnaround elopement, and they were free. And so it would have been maybe mid-October, like right after my dad's surgery pretty much, when we got the go-ahead of like, yeah, like you can book this, like next month you're getting married. Once we confirmed that we were able to stay at Long Beach Lodge and we were able to get a couple of rooms, we then decided to invite my parents and my brother and have our best friends, Katie and Justin, attend as well. And so that's what we had, a little 5-person intimate elopement getaway at Tofino, and it was absolutely more than I could have ever imagined. It was so beautiful. So we got to talking with the venue and they were absolutely phenomenal. I cannot recommend them highly enough. It was just such a genuinely nice team, and they had so many different contacts with vendors and they really set us up. And so they pretty much were able to get us in contact with everyone that we needed to be in contact with Florals and with our videographer and photographer and all of that kind of stuff, and everything kind of fell into place really quite quickly once we found the venue. We were pretty bummed to not be able to have Glenn's family there, but his dad is super understanding and he was really sweet. He wrote me this like He wrote me this beautiful Facebook message, and I'm thinking it was one night after he went out to the bar. But it was this beautiful message just inviting me to their family and talking about how excited he was that we were getting married and that we were proceeding with doing the elopement, and obviously that we would have a really great party when everybody could be there. So it meant a lot that his dad reached out to me personally and said that. One of the questions that a lot of you were asking was, did we have any family that were pissed off or disappointed that we decided to elope? And luckily, no. We have a really laid back family and friend group. I think they all kind of knew that that was always a possibility with us, so I don't really think it really surprised anybody. A lot of you asked, was it a secret as well? To a lot of like our extended friends and family, like, yeah, we didn't say anything publicly, and I didn't say anything like to my friends and family other than like those that were really close to me, like people that I text all the time. There was a lot of good feelings all around. It wasn't anybody upset or frustrated that they weren't invited, which I'm really glad for, because while yes, I do understand that that is a valid feeling, I also think that weddings are between two people, and if you want to get wed in a certain way, who cares what other people think? You know, like, it's one of those things where I think the older generation in general is more concerned with like, oh, like maybe you should invite these people or you could invite these people, and I, from the get-go, it's just like, I'm not doing that, you know? And like, I feel like Glenn's more of a pushover that way. He probably felt more bad about not inviting people, but like, I don't give a shit. Cold-hearted bitch over here. It was just like, the people that need to be there are gonna be there, and that's that. I'm happy. So I was very grateful that there wasn't any like family drama with that. The whole coronavirus thing kind of also played into me not being like super excited about eloping until it was like the day of, because it genuinely felt like it was just going to be ripped from our hands at any second. Obviously, I get it. Like, we're in a pandemic, getting married and like doing that whole thing isn't really the priority. But obviously it was something that mattered to us, and it would have really sucked to have had our second event canceled. And so I kind of felt like I was really guarded and wasn't allowing myself to be excited. Like, the people that did know that we were eloping kept asking, like, are you excited? Are you excited? And I'm just like, well, not really. I don't know. It felt really weird. It was just a very strange set of events. I never pictured getting married in this way, but the way that it turned out was totally awesome, you know? But the lead up to it was very nerve-wracking and kind of like, I didn't want to get my hopes up, put it that way. Some people asked, was Lola there, or was Lola the flower girl? Of course Lola was there. We didn't have her in every single picture, but yeah, Lola was definitely there. My parents also had their dog Lily, and so Lola and Lily were at our like reception, or like whatever you want to call our after the ceremony portion. They were there. Okay, moving on to eyes. I'm using the palette that I used on my wedding day, which is the Per Cosmetics times Raw Beauty Christy. This is stunning. Christy, you probably don't watch my content, and that's so okay, but this is beautiful. If you ever by chance were to watch this, I want you to know how much I love this, and I just think this is just the best invention of like a dual palette in one thing with two big mirrors. Girl, this is the first palette I'm pretty sure that I purchased in about 5 years. This is beautiful. I used the neutral tones in my crease and then the center shade that is a shimmer on my lid. I feel like my makeup for the wedding, like the whole wedding day felt so relaxed but rushed. Like, I don't know how people do a regular wedding day with like a bridal party and just people everywhere. Like, I feel like I barely had enough time with like the two people that were with me, let alone having to spread myself thin. I did my own hair and my own makeup for the wedding. I just felt like it was just easier, and obviously again with COVID stuff, I just didn't really want more people involved. I feel like I did a good job, but again, it was something that was like, if I had more time or I felt more focused, I feel like I would have done a better job, but whatever, it wasn't really the point of the day. I felt as though the day went from like, oh, I have so much time, to like, holy shit, the ceremony's in like 20 minutes, you better hurry up. I feel like that's probably pretty common with most people with their weddings. But yeah, I was like in the zone trying to get my hair and makeup finished before I needed to be called for pictures. So honestly, I feel as though if it wasn't COVID times, I probably would have hired a makeup artist. But again, since everything was so last minute and since it was like, well, I'm just doing it all myself. The only thing that I was a little bit like, I wish I did better was I wish that I had given a lip product, like a lip gloss or chap or whatever, to our photographer, because I felt like when we were taking photos, like halfway through, like you're kissing and you're doing shit and like your lips dry out. So I felt like my lips were kind of crusty like during photos, and I like feel like had I had a makeup artist, they would have been like, oh wait, let me fix this, and like I didn't have that person doing that, and I was just so involved with everything else that I just didn't stop and take the time to do that. So that is one thing that would be nice, is having an extra set of eyes on your hair and makeup. I think it's really sweet that you guys are asking all these like considerate and like compassionate, like how did you incorporate important people like leading up to the day and like this. I didn't. It was about me. I waited 10 years for this fucking day. This wedding was literally like, what does Karissa want today? What does Glenn want today? That's what we're doing. We didn't really have any like special things leading up to the day, or like, I don't know, anything traditional in that sense. Maybe that makes me a jackass, but also saved me a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of worry. A few of you wanted to know about my denim jacket. So if you've seen the photos, you've seen it. If you haven't, then let me grab it for you. Hold on. I made this jacket for the wedding and I wore it with my dress. I had originally seen this style jacket on One Day Bridal. They were like $500 US, which is fucking ridiculous. I genuinely could not fathom spending that much money on a denim jacket. And so I found a jacket from Old Navy for like maybe 30 bucks. And I found those rhinestone brooches off of like Amazon and Etsy for like, I don't know, $5 a piece. And then I found some iron-on letters, and voila, that is my do-it-yourself $500 One Day Bridal jacket. So I was very happy with that do-it-yourself. We ended up doing it like tipsy the night before in the hotel room. And yeah, I think it was just a great addition because it felt very me, and it also was something really fun that I could do with my friend. There's a lot of questions about my dress, so I thought we could chat about that. I had a dress made by Grace Loves Lace. It's an Australian company. It was a company that I had flagged for years to do a wedding dress. I was always looking for a second-hand one, but I ran out of time and I decided that if I wanted the style that I wanted, I wouldn't be able to do a second-hand one. I've been looking on the website Still White. It's a great place to look for secondhand dresses if you are ever in the market for that. I couldn't find anything on Still White that was a particular style that I wanted, and so I had sent in my measurements and got Grace Loves Lace to make me like a custom dress to my size. So we did that kind of like just as the world was locking down, and yeah, it was really funny because at that point like we weren't really sure, like I knew I needed to order my dress because it was like, well, if I'm getting married in June, like I need a dress. You need to like start on the dress several months before. And so that was kind of like our initial thought, is like, well, we'll just get it anyway and we'll just go with it. And then if we wear it in June, I wear it in June, and if not, then whatever. And then obviously I didn't wear it in June. In between ordering that dress in March and wearing it in November, I had learned how to bake bread. And it definitely was something that was like a little nerve-wracking leading up to the elopement, because I was like, holy shit, what if I don't fit this? Like this is a tight dress. So I definitely did gain a little bit of weight, and it didn't fit me the way that I thought that I'd originally intended, but who cares? This is my walking shell, it's fine. I definitely did not have my like ideal body or like fit wedding shredding for the wedding, whatever the fucking people call it. And like, it's fine, it's okay, but it was definitely something that was a little bit nerve-wracking for me, because it was like, oh my god, like I'm gonna have to order a second pair of Spanx to get into this thing. I wore that for the ceremony, and then I swapped out of it and swapped into the second like $100 dress for dinner. So it all worked out in the end, but yeah, that's the deal with my dress. I am selling it now. If anyone would like to get a Grace Loves Lace dress at a discounted price, hit me up, message me. A lot of you asked, am I changing my last name? Yes, as I said before, I am changing my last name publicly. I will keep Karissa Pukas because that's how you guys know me and that's what I built my brand and my life off of. But yeah, privately, like on my driver's license and passport and all of that, I will be Karissa Gustard KG. So weird. A lot of you asked about the cost, and it's kind of hard because it's one of those things where like you could have an elopement for very, very cheap, like hundreds of dollars cheap, or you could have an elopement that's like 20 grand. You could really do anything. You can do whatever you really would like to do and go as hardcore as you really want to go. So it's a little bit difficult to talk price because it is such an individual thing. Like, had I not gotten my Grace Loves Lace dress, had I just gone with my cheap dress, like literally I would have spent $100 on the dress, maybe $200 on new like Sephora makeup, and like I already owned extensions and things like that. So like it would have been very inexpensive had I gone that route, but like I wanted to have a dress and I already had bought one and like things like that. So like that's where it adds on money. Like if you want more florals, it's gonna cost you more. But like if you really truly wanted like just your base cost of like you and a celebrant, like you could do it probably for like less than $500. It just really depends on what you want. So price is kind of hard to discuss because it's one of those things where it really is up to you and what you want with your experience. Speaking of money, a lot of you had asked about whether or not we lost a lot of our deposits from our original wedding. Luckily, we were able to get back the majority of them. I'm only waiting on one deposit, which I'm really hoping that I'll hear back from them. It was our original DJ. And like things like that, like of course, like we would love to hire the same people when we eventually do a wedding party in the future, but it's kind of like if that's like 3 or 4 years away, like I don't want somebody holding that lump sum of cash for that long. Like that's ridiculous. What if they went out of business? I don't know. So every other vendor was really understanding and great. Yeah, the only people that we haven't gotten it back from is the DJ, and fingers crossed because that's a lot of money. For our honeymoon, first night we stayed at these really beautiful secluded cabins in Eloped. It was so gorgeous. Like, oh my god, I'm gonna put some stuff over the screen, but it's absolutely stunning. If you ever have the chance to go there, please go there. And then we went back down and stayed at our friend's house in Souk for 2 nights, the people that we invited to the wedding. And then Glenn and I had like 3 days at Oak Bay Hotel down in Victoria. That was so beautiful. Oh my gosh, they had like stunning pools that were open, even though it was like super limited with like all the rules. We just kind of relaxed and stuck around the hotel. We really didn't explore very much. We went out to dinner once, but had like room service the majority of the time. Anyway, the world's very different, so we did not do like a big honeymoon. But like, to be honest, we've already traveled a lot together, and I didn't feel as though we were like massively missing out, because it was just like, well, like obviously that's not able to happen in the near future. So for what it was, we had such a beautiful time. We spent such great quality time together. We had Lola there, which was just the best. And yeah, I really wouldn't have changed anything other than COVID, but can't change that. Actually, that's a lie. The only thing that we would have changed would be technically the final night of our honeymoon, but we were driving home to Kelowna, and from where we were, we had to basically take a ferry and then drive for several hours, and then there's like a huge mountain pass called the Coquihalla, and it's like a really dangerous road to drive, especially if it's like bad weather. So we made the decision, since we were already driving like the first half of the day and it gets dark so early, that we would stay a night right before we had to go over the mountain pass. And so where that kind of landed us was in Harrison Hot Springs area. So the hotel itself is very old, and going into it, like we knew that, whatever, it's okay, it just, that's what was in the area. So we decided to book there. There really wasn't much else other than like motels in the area, so we just thought like, okay, that's our best shot. And when we checked in, we, like I said, had already been driving for several hours, and it had just started like really heavily like raining and sleeting, and it was like that really weird in-between phase of like, it started snowing but then it would rain and it was starting to snow. Anyways, we arrived, and when we checked in, it was just really weird vibes, and like the lady at the front desk was super unhelpful. Like Glenn asked, hey, we have all of our wedding stuff in the car. Like, do you have secure parking so we don't have to, like, you know, remove literally the entire contents of our car? And like, she wouldn't give any more information. So it was like prying these little bits of information out of this lady. It was really weird. So anyway, like we finally figured out like, okay, cool. Like they don't have secure parking. You have to park in like a parking lot, like away from the building. It's not at all in the same spot. And so we're like, okay, well crap, like let's unload all of the wedding stuff. Cause like, I don't know, I don't want to leave like wedding gear just open in a car in a parking lot. So we brought everything inside. They don't have a trolley. So we had to make several trips inside. All good, whatever. We go to check out the next morning, and obviously since we have all of our stuff, we need to make multiple trips to the car. Glenn has parked the car like to the front side of the loading area where it's still undercover because it's literally pissing rain, and like there's still like snow in the parking lot that's getting turned into like slush. Like it was gross. It was a really gross day. And so he parks in a covered area, and he takes the first 2 trips out to the car by himself while like I'm finishing getting ready in the morning, and I'm collecting all of our stuff and like making it like ready to go by the door. And so he was maybe parked in that spot for like all of 10, maybe 15 minutes. Collect everything up. We're taking our last load to the car, like cool, 3rd and final load. I got my pillow. I have Lola on top of the pillow. I have my roll along suitcase. Like I'm trekking through here with my mask, and I get outside and I go to the car, and this older woman, this older miserable woman looks at me and just so snarkily basically makes this comment about like, that's whose car's blocking all the cars. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, ma'am. We're just taking our final load of stuff out to the car. Like, I really apologize. We're out of here in just a sec. And she doesn't shut up. She just keeps going, like full blown, like right in my face. And I'm like, I'm trying to back up. I have the dog. I have a pillow. I'm like trying to load the rest of the stuff in the car. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like we needed to take several trips. We're just alone here. Right? Let me get my dog in the car and like, we'll get out of your way. She then goes to the front desk and gets some type of security person to come out. Doesn't even learn about the situation. He immediately launches into yelling at us that this is not a parking zone. It's just a loading zone. We're so clearly loading at this point. Like Glenn has the back door open. He's like shoving the suitcases in. Like common sense would have gone so far in this situation. And the man's like full blown, like raising his voice at us. The Karen in the corner is just fucking barking at him. And he basically was like, can't you see the signs? Full blown in my face, pointing at a no smoking sign saying, it says you can't park here. And I'm like, sir, you're pointing at a no smoking sign. So anyway, oh my God, even my camera was getting bored of my story. It just turned off. I will wrap it up. Basically, it just was a very shitty experience, and we ended up having to email the hotel just to kind of chat like what was up with that. So it was a bit of a damper on the end of our trip, but other than that, it was a phenomenal time. I just can't really full-heartedly recommend staying at Harrison Hot Springs because that was so avoidable on every single level. But yeah, and then we came home, and it's just been like a complete and utter shit show of trying to just organize ourselves. And now I feel like we are finally like, okay, we're gonna move. And so like we're strictly like digging into that now. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes. There's a lot of stuff that I'm excited to talk about, but I'm not yet ready to talk about. No, I'm not pregnant. Please do not ask me. I feel as though I'm really excited to share that portion of our next chapter, but I just feel like it's already driving me crazy the second that we got married. The when's the baby's coming questions come. So please give me a little bit of space with that. I will talk about it when I'm ready. Just as I will talk about everything else that I'm super excited to share with you guys. I just need a little bit of time to process, figure it out myself, and then interpret it online to a bunch of people. I feel like the online world has changed so much since I started doing this and having these types of conversations with you guys. I feel a little bit less safe and a lot more overwhelmed. So I just need to take my time when I share stuff now. So I hope that you guys understand, and I really appreciate those of you that do. I feel so seen and heard and loved by the people that have continually been with this channel, and I really appreciate that. So thank you to the OGs who give me some time and space. I appreciate you with all of my heart. I feel like that was pretty much it for my makeup look. The only last thing that I put on was the Dior lip oil This is a beautiful product. I really like it. I also did use a lip liner. I don't know how much I showed of that, but it was the Boldly Bare MAC lip pencil. Very nice. But yeah, so this is kind of a similar look to what I did on the wedding day. The only difference is I had a bit of a wing and some lashes on the wedding day, but here's where we're at. I hope you guys enjoyed today's chatty video. Please let me know, do you miss makeup videos from me? Is that something you'd still watch? I had fun, and I feel like I still have fun with makeup, but I'm not a makeup artist, and so I feel as though, I don't know, I feel like when so many other people came online and started doing makeup that I was like, well, who am I to do this? I don't know. Let me know. I would love to hear your input. I would love to know what videos you'd like to see from me next, and this is where I'll leave you. I hope you have a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye! XOXO, love a wife.